Hey there, my Tyler Perry Sistas fans. It's your girl Barbie J here, and we are talking about Tyler Perry Sistas, Season 4, Episode 14. Money is king! And yes, it is, because money help you get out of a lot of trouble, help you get away with a lot of stuff, help you buy things you don't need. You know, money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Anyway, let's get on with this review. All right. And before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please take a moment right now. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Okay. Let me tell you something. I guess the best part of this episode had to be probably the last part. And it's not even that. I guess the best part going to be the beginning of the next week's episode. I mean, this episode was okay, but it just didn't leave me like, pow, wow. My sister didn't even call me to talk about it. Usually we would talk about it afterwards. I hear crickets right now. My phone did not ring. My sister's like, whatever. So anyway, it starts off with Karen. Karen informs Aaron that it could be Zach's baby or his. I'm surprised she even told the truth about that. And, you know, he could feel like Karen doesn't want it to be his baby. And he lets her know that. You know, and he says, you know, he feels he'll be a better father than Zach. And she's like, oh, really? You think so? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be there for you and blah, blah, blah. So Karen is once again requesting space from Aaron. You know, she don't want to be bothered. She needs time to process this. She doesn't want to discuss it anymore, especially while he drives her back to the salon, because she was going to just get an Uber or something like that. He was like, stop being crazy. And I was saying the same damn thing. Stop being crazy, Karen. Just let the man drive you back home, okay? Anyway, then we have Danny. She's at work and she gets a call from Preston. He wants her to put his stuff in a box outside of her door. You know, he's talking differently, and he lets her know that in so many words, you know, that he doesn't want to see her and that he can't get his stuff tonight because he has a date. And Danny hears him say something. I forgot what line he said, but she was like, since when you start talking like that? So anyway, they hang up and Danny calls Sabrina and tries to get Zach's address, which is against bank's confidentiality, you know, policies. And Sabrina's like playing this game. I'm not going to give it to you. I can't give it to you. Then she going to let Danny try to guilt trip her about some secret she kept for her again, and not told her parents back in college. I said, oh, y'all are grown women. Y'all in your 30s. That college days is over 10 years ago. You need to let that mess go. And Sabrina's like, oh, please don't say his name. And then she going to go give her Zach's address. That crap is wrong. And at some point, if that's what Sabrina gets arrested for, she deserves it. Because she's always telling Zach's personal information and she's wrong. That's not what a bank manager is supposed to do. And then after she gives her Zach's information, she gonna say, why do you need it? Hello? Shouldn't she ask that first? That should have been the first damn thing she asked. Why do you need Zach's information for anyway, his address? Anyway, then we have Andy. She's talking to Fatima, informing her that the judge ain't budging and has her in there without bail. Fatima is in jail and can't get bail. That don't make a damn bit of sense. So Fatima's pissed, saying she should have let those guys kill Hayden. And then she told how she was drunk as hell when she had sex with him that one time with Hayden. And she said, and I looked at his little penis and said, I hope I don't fall asleep. And Andy's like, Fatima, you can't be saying those things in there to me. And Andy's telling her, and she's like, why not? Hell, you my damn attorney, so why not? But I was laughing, but she was like, his penis was so little, I was going, oh, I hope I don't fall asleep. I was like, oh, Fatima, you ain't right. So Fatima's begging Andy not to tell Zach, and that she said that he's like her, that when that switch goes off, there's no stopping them, you know? And she's like, I've never seen Zach like that. She said, I know Zach. Zach is like me in so many ways. So she knows Zach is on probation and she doesn't want him to have to go back to jail. So then she slips and tells Andy that he was just arrested, and Andy's asking for what. But Fatima refuses to tell her, and she wants her to see how this will play out. And Andy's like, she tells her she'll let her know later. And Andy's like, did Karen have him arrested or something? And she's like, no, she didn't do it. It wasn't her. So Andy said she would talk to Rob, and he's heading into the office now and see if he can help. And if not, the only other option is to file a motion to get the judge removed. And she said the one thing about this is the judges stick together. And I said, that's true unless one of them don't like the other one. So she said, I'm saying I like that Andy acknowledged to Fatima that she said she has done so much for her and that she really wants to get her out of jail, because Fatima has had Andy's back for a lot of these things that went down, especially when she's about to get her ass whooped in that garage. Okay, and Hayden to do nothing. He was there sitting in his car. And when Fatima rolled up, I remember, and pulled out the gun and all that stuff when everybody broke out. Then he gets out his car and letting Fatima know he saw it and all this stuff. He was been a real a-hole. Hayden really has been. Then we have Aaron and Karen. Oh, God. They in the car in front of the salon, and they're just talking, and Karen starts with the, I'm sorry for all of this, and I'm sorry for ever having sex with you. I'm sorry for, I was like, girl, please. And Aaron's like, don't do that. You know, he's saying, no matter what, I'm going to be there for you. And she can't stand it that he keeps saying that. She can't stand that he's a good guy. I don't know what her problem is. So she tells him he's not making this easy for her because he wants to talk about it, and she just wants time to process the news now. And anyway, Karen leaves, goes inside the salon, and Pam starts asking her questions. And she's telling Karen, 4 of your clients had to be rescheduled and stuff. And 2 of them is really pissed off. And she said, you've been snapping at these people. And Karen's like, you just being nosy, asking a lot of questions. She said, no, you've been really snapping and being bitchy. She said, no, you know what you have been. And she proceeded to going off on Pam, snapping at her, going in on her, telling her she nosy as hell. And Pam was trying to be a friend. Pam was the one sitting there on her knees, hugging her. Oh, no, she didn't get on her knees, did she? She was hugging Karen when Karen was crying because she knew she was pregnant. And Pam was there for her. So I'm not liking how Karen is snapping at everybody. I don't want to hear that. Just because you don't know who that daddy is, there's no reason to take it out on everybody. And Pam said something smart to her. And Karen came back and said, what? And Pam made up something. I was cracking up. Oh, I said such and such. She said, I thought that's what you said. Anyway, then we got Gary. He's calling Hayden to find out about Robin, asking if that guy come back yet. He's like, who you talking about? Now it sounds like Hayden's being an a-hole to Gary right now. He's trying to act some kind of way with him. He feeling himself now. He feeling empowered or something. I don't know what's going on with him. And Gary's like, don't act like you don't know who I'm talking about. Don't play with me. So then Hayden said, he got Andy good. He had Fatima locked up. He said, you did? Well, that was messed up what she did to your stuff, he said. But does Gary even know the stuff that he did to Fatima and Zach? I don't know. But he goes, does Zach know? I don't know, but I'm waiting for him. That's what Hayden said. I'm waiting for him. He can't wait. Well, let me know how that goes, Gary said. So he hangs up, and Jake walks in and walks into Gary's office asking, what's that about? What's going on? And he tells Jake that Hayden had Fatima arrested, and Jake do the same thing. Does Zach know? So Gary asks Jake about Zach, and he tells that he thinks Zach just lucked up and that he seems to know his shit about the stock market and everything. And Gary's like, really? I can't believe it. He said, well, let's see what the SEC says, about it. He said, Jake goes, I don't think they really gonna bother him because he really knows his shit. And so Gary leaves, and Jake calls Zach and leaves a message for him to call him back. But now this going to be messed up because if he has a meeting or anything with the SEC, I don't know if he does or not. Zach is going to get arrested now. But anyway, moving along, we got Andy. She walks into the office past Hayden. She don't want to say nothing to him, but of course he stops her to say he knows she tried to talk to the judge that a little birdie told him. And she's like, after all you put Fatima through, what do you want from her? What, and he said, what I always wanted. She was like, oh, so you think this is going to win her over and get her back? And he's like, no, I'm over that. I just want to make her miserable and that ex-con of hers. Are you jealous of him? Why are you so concerned about their relationship? You know, and so Andy's like, oh, you jealous of him because you're a little bitty man? And he said, I got you little bitty. She said, and I take that back. You're not even a man, because a man wouldn't do what you're doing here. So he's like, well, I'm meeting with the partners to get her fired, you know. And he says he has a restraining order and she can't be but 50 feet from him. So she can't be working here. And Andy says, sounds like you need to quit. He said, well, that's not going to happen. And she's like, well, if they fire her, then I'll quit. And he's like, oh, well. And she's like, because I bring this company lots of money compared to you. And he said, well, I have the expertise. She said, well, money is king, baby. And that's the title of this episode. Money is king. So he's like, you think you got pulled because you sleeping with the London arm? And she's like, what? What did you say? He said, she said, well, if you know that, then you better leave me the F alone. I said, you better tell him, Andy Bonds, let him know. Then we got Danny. She shows up to Zach's house and she just walks in and he's like, don't you knock? And she's like, you didn't knock when you were there staying with me. And he's like, I always knock. What are you talking about? Anyway, so she's Danny claims that she's there for two reasons. The police officer showed up at Karen's salon looking for him and he said, yeah, well, that was BS. And she asked, what? And he what was he saying? He said he wasn't going to tell. Well, basically, he wasn't going to tell her. But then he gave her the bare minimum of information. And he said, you know, then she said, well, Preston, you been hooking him up or something like that with these girls. And Zach said he doesn't know what she's talking about. And he said, you know that you like him. What's the problem, Danny? He was first saying Danny. Then he started calling her Daniela through the whole thing. So he's like, you know you like him. What's the problem? She's like, we don't have anything in common. And he's like, that's BS, Daniela. You know, yes, he talks about cows a lot and stuff, but he talks about other things too. Anything I throw at him, he can roll with it. So Danny admits that she likes him. And so Zach is telling her not to play around or she'll lose him. And she says that's a risk she's willing to take, especially since Zach is giving him this advice, you know, the same advice he used, same advice and tactics he used on Karen. And look where that got him. He said, yep, I'm in a better place and with a better girl. I said, all right. I said, right. You that didn't work for you, Daniela, honey. And then she wants to know why he putting himself in the middle of her business and giving Preston this bad advice. And Zach teased her about some stuff and then said, you know, he really loves her and that. As her friend, he's like, let me give you advice, because he kept trying to give her advice. She didn't want to hear it, but he's like, stop stringing him along and tell him exactly how you feel, and that she's been acting a little bit biatchy lately. And she's like, oh, I have? She said, you have. He said, oh, I'm the bitch. You know, she's saying he was acting bitchy. He's like, yeah, okay, all right, Danny. So then she goes, oh, you're not going to show me around? He said, hell no, I don't even think you were happy for me and stuff. She said, oh no, I'm elated. I'm very happy for you. So he asked her to give him a hug, and she wouldn't give him a hug or anything, but he did, you know, start showing her the place. And she said she's really happy for him. So he's like, here's the kitchen in my brand new condo. He kept talking about his brand new condo. He said, would you have one? He said, here's an island in there. There's an island in my brand new condo. He said, would you have one someday once you stop smoking weed and get to work on time? I said, oh no, he didn't call her out for what she is. I said, oh snap. So after seeing the condo, Danny brings up she says she's really pleased with the place and what he's going through. And then she brings up Karen and the baby, because he was trying to get her to leave and she's still in their business. But why are you in their business? That's their business now. So you don't want nobody in your business. You shouldn't be in theirs, whether they're your friends or not. So Zach is like, if it's mine, I'll be there for the baby. But we don't know, since she's also with the preacher man. And Danny was like, I think it's yours and I think you know it's yours and all that stuff. I was like, Danny, please. Well, Karen seems to know it's yours. Karen wants it to be whoever. You just let Karen leave your house knowing she going crazy because she want that baby to be his. So why do you think Karen is in any right mind to claim that it's anybody's baby? So then Fatima, and then Danny asks how Fatima feels, and Zach's like, I'm not talking about that because you're just probing now. She said, what are you talking about? You know how she feels, he said, because you were at Andy's when she told her. Oh, she told you that? Oh, Fatima told you? Yes, that's my woman. She tells me everything. That's right. Zach is in a mature relationship now. We tell each other everything. She said, so you don't feel no ways for Karen? And he said, I love Karen. She said, but y'all done. And he said, yep, 1000%. Then she brings up her moment of weakness at their moment of weakness at the salon, you know. And he's like, why you got to bring that up? He said, but now he said, look, I have a woman who makes me feel strong, so I don't have to worry about being weak anymore. So she's like, Zach is making her nauseous. She got to get up out of here because she's not understanding how he's talking. Even she don't talk like that. I was like, who's she? Who is she talking about? Was she talking about Karen or Fatima? She said, even she don't talk like that. Anyway, he told her bye and to give Rodeo a chance. And she said, instead of giving him advice, you need to, about using other women. She said, instead of you giving him advice about using other women, black women, try telling him to watch a Malcolm X interview or read a James Baldwin book. And I'm like, why didn't you tell him that? Why didn't you suggest those things to him yourself, Danny? Why didn't you sit down and read a book with him and ask him, read this book so we can have a discussion about it, Daniela? You know, it's like, don't tell Zach to do that. And Zach ended with, as I told you once again, I don't know what you're talking about. He act like he didn't have nothing to do with telling Preston nothing. And I'm glad he stuck with that. That was cool. And then we got Sabrina questioning Maurice at the bank about Q, and Maurice flipped it around and started talking about Calvin and the flowers and stopping by to talk to him and how he was hurt and stuff. And Maurice was just about to leave, but he decided to wait and till Sabrina finished up, just in case Q is stupid enough to try and rob the bank a second time. I said, damn, I'm talking about stupid. So he said he gonna go put on his flats and put his hair up in a ponytail, and so he's ready. I was dying. I was like, you need to stop, Maurice. So anyway, Maurice gets home and Calvin is in there eating dinner with Q. Maurice is like, what the hell is going on? And Calvin decided to let Q in to eat because he said he was on the steps starving. Hello? He's like, did you ask my permission first? And he said, boy, shut up and sit down. I don't like how they have Calvin acting. This is real stupid because Calvin was the main one that didn't want that boy in the house. Now all of a sudden you acting like you got feelings for him. And so he tells Maurice to shut up. And Q, he's letting him know that Q can cook. He cooked this meal. And Q's like, I cooked your favorite dinner. He said, fool, you don't know my favorite meal. He told him what it was. I knew it was some collard greens and yams or something like that. I forgot, mac and cheese or whatever. So Calvin said, Q has a story. Oh, smothered pork chops. That's what it was. So Calvin said, Q has a story to tell. And Maurice is like, everybody got a damn story to tell. I said, that's right about that. I got one. So Calvin tells him to tell Maurice the story, and he really doesn't want to hear it. And Calvin tells him to shut up and just listen. And he told some story about when he was 3 years old. I did not get what that story was about because he didn't actually say what happened when he was at 3 years old. I thought it was okay. I thought it was normal. I didn't know. What did he do? There ain't no way the man did anything to him or put a penis in him at 3 years old. So what happened? I don't know. Anyway, then it ended with Zach showing up at Fatima's job and was looking for her, and then asked Andy, and she made up some kind of story about having Fatima running errands for her all day. And Zach's like, well, she's not answering my calls. And Andy's like, I don't understand why. He said, can we go somewhere and talk? And he's like, why did she walk? I'm sitting there going, why did she walk him into the firm instead of like outside the front door if you wanted to talk out the firm? So of course they run into Hayden, who's happy to say he locked Fatima up. And Andy is telling Zach not to do anything, to listen to her. Hayden just wants you to go back to jail. Look at me, don't look at him. You know, she's trying to get him to focus and come on. And he's like, no, you gonna answer my question. You better tell me what is going on. And Zach is pissed now because his, like Fatima told her, it don't stop. It's not gonna stop. Something's gonna click and he's gonna be back in jail. And so he's like, well, y'all know what happened. I don't even have to go and see what happened. But Zach tried to walk away, and Hayden kept taunting him, talking about, I locked your bitch up. I locked your bitch up. Now, who does that in their office and get away with it? And she ain't getting out. And Zach ran and attacked him, and we see the scenes for next week when Zach proceeds to whooping that ass down the steps. Yes, he whooped that ass. He was beating him up. How them cops got there that quick, I have no idea, because it looked like 3 cops running in there, but he was beating that ass, y'all, and I was glad. That's a prison sentence that's worth it. See, Fatima just tore up his stuff. Zach gonna tear up his face. And that's what I'm glad about. So y'all, that's the way it ended. I hope y'all like it. Let me know how you feel down in the comment section as well. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.